My name is Josh Cohen. I'm a psychoanalyst in private practice here in London and professor of modern literary theory at Goldsmiths, University of London. Welcome to my exp. There are many different kinds of loneliness. It's a state that allows for all kinds of variegation. The expression being in one's own company, liking one's own company, I think captures what's at stake in the whole idea of loneliness and being alone. It puts in ordinary language the sense that internally we are more than one. We're the person who moves through the world, but also there is someone in our minds, in ourselves, who moves alongside us and who comments and provides a kind of companionship as well as a running commentary on the state of our lives. And that companion can be somebody that we find congenial, easy, that helps us to be curious about ourselves and interested in the world. And when we feel lonely, that companion can be somebody that we'd rather not be with, or that feels to us to offer no kind of solace or interest of any kind. And that's when the experience of the world starts to feel empty, sad. Solitude is very well described by the British psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott in his essay on the capacity to be alone. The capacity to be alone, according to Winnicott, is something that grows out of a very early relationship with a mother or somebody who is in the place of a maternal carer, who lines our aloneness, our isolation. So this is not a companionship that involves play or dialogue or interaction of any kind. It's the pure presence of somebody else that makes it feel safe and possible, that provides, if you like, the conditions for being alone with oneself. It feels okay to be alone with oneself if we know that somebody is simply there, if we feel a sense of their presence lining our environment, our internal environment. In the Romantic period, the idea comes about, which to us really seems so natural that today we barely question it, but that individual life, or at least this is true in the contemporary West, but actually it was a relatively novel idea that it's in individual life that the truth of human existence really exists, that transcendence, that the highest meanings of humanity are to be found and revealed in the interior life. So you start to get a poetry that we call lyric, which wants to give voice not to the beauty or the strangeness of the external world, but to the landscapes of the mind and of the heart. This inevitably gives rise to an interest in loneliness and solitude, because if the truths of humankind are located in the self, in the interior, then we need to become interested and curious about what happens when we're on our own, when the mind is in communion with itself, when it's exploring itself. And this can sound, and often is, quite ecstatic, and can lead to a kind of a state of transcendent peace. But just as easily, it can be very turbulent and volatile, because as more and more thinkers and writers show us, the mind, of course, can be a very dangerous, risky place to be. And so you have a series of writers for whom loneliness connotes peace and joy and a kind of comfort and reassurance in simply being with oneself. But you also get writers who see this kind of self-companionship as taking us into very risky, volatile territory, very stormy seas.